Welcome everyone, it's Gray Shirt Guy. I'm rocking the gray shirt as always. This is the 5th of February and we're doing a studio update. Just talking about what I've painted since the last studio update and what I'm going to be doing with these X World Eater models right here. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's focus on what we painted first. Let's get the camera moved on over. Let's get zoomed in on this. There we go. All right, so what we got here, we got a couple Terminators. So in the back we have a pair, or we have a 5-man set of close combat Terminators with Thunderhammer and Storm Shield, rocking it. And then in the front we have a Relic Terminator squad. The Sergeant has a Chain Fist and Combi Bolter. Then we got a Chain Fist autocannon. Then we got double Lightning Claws with the cool yellow Lightning Claws. Then we got two guys with Chain Fist and Combi Bolter. Kind of an expensive squad, but I think the Chain Fist is pretty sweet, so I'm going to go with that. These are for my Christmas Wolves. They're for my Space Wolves army, which is a Christmas-themed Space Wolf army, using the green. I went with green instead of red primary armor, mostly just because a red primary armor on the ground troops would elicit kind of a Blood Wolves feel, which is I believe it's a chaotic or renegade version of the Space Wolves. Which looks cool if you want to go that way, but we want to go a little bit more Christmassy, wintry theme. So we're going with a desert winter base where it's got some foliage, some greenery, but it's kind of like a Badlands with some recent snowfall. Also, you know, if you're like in a unless it's like a heavy snow area, I think you're going to see this in more of a battlefield. Anyways, the sergeants have white shoulder pads. That's how you can distinguish the sergeants from within the squads. And yeah, I think it's going to look pretty cool. We do have some models will have red armor, the HQ units, but the sergeants will just have, trying to go with the white shoulder pad for the sergeants to denote them. So that's what I painted. Let's move on over to these little models right over here. Get the camera all locked in there. All right, so what we have here is our former, for the most part, World Eater models, or some World Eater models that need to get some changes. All right, so we're going to start from my right, yeah, which is also your right, going from right to left. So as on the far right, we have a 5-man squad of Cataphractii Terminators with double Lightning Claws. I was using them as Chaos Terminators up until the most recent Chaos Codex came out, and they basically went to, hey, if it's not in the box, you can't wear it. Which, it's been really weird because GW has been doing that for certain kits and certain units, but not others. Like, if you look at the Cadian Shock Troops, currently you can have 2 of the same special weapon, but the kit only comes with 1 of each special weapon. Now, there is a rumor that that's gonna get fixed. But we haven't seen an FAQ yet, and the army fully launched. So I'm like, what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for, like, because they haven't fully launched every model. So are they going to wait until they release every model? Are they going to wait until a tournament? Like, what are they waiting to do in FAQ for the Cadians? Krieg lets you take 2 Meltaguns or 2 Flamers or whatever, but the box only comes with 1 Meltagun. So it's like, all right, well, I don't want to build those up and then find out later on that it's like, no. So it's really weird what's going on with those. But yeah, well, with Chaos Terminators, you cannot take double Lightning Claw. So what we're going to do is, the other option would be to go hunt through my bits box and source out a bunch of Combi Bolters with arms and everything and break them all off. I don't want to do that, so we're going to strip them. We're going to throw them in some simple green, and we're going to repurpose them as Relic Terminators for my Blood Ravens. Blood Ravens, they like to acquire they like to acquire bits and relics and war gear. So we're gonna have them tactically acquire some Terminators. All right, so what we got right here in the front are some Khorne Berserker champions. Now, at the time when I built the army, I went with Combi Bolters on my champions, mostly just because they were only a 2-point upgrade versus a 5-point upgrade for plasma pistols. I believe at the time, and yeah, I thought it was something unique. I thought it was something cool. I thought the Combi Bolter was a pretty nice upgrade. I didn't think it was a terrible idea. But since Combi Bolters don't come in the new kit well, they didn't come in the old kit, and they don't come in the new kit either. We're going to throw some plasma pistols on there for these champions. and then we'll be able to rock it. So I found some plasma pistols. They're actually the Corn Berserker plasma pistols from the box. So we took out the combi bolters. We're gonna slap those plasma pistols on there, and we'll be off to the races. Behind them, we have the World Eater Chaos Lord Terminator guy with the Chain Fist and the Combi Bolter from Warhammer Plus. And now you could theoretically take him in a squad of Chaos Terminators, or like World Eater Terminators, but it's just one guy. So I don't really want to do that so much. Unless I just swap him in. But there is no Terminator Lord in World Eaters right now. And I don't even think... I think they got rid of the World Eater's Forge World character, possibly. I think they might have got rid of that one. And he was a Terminator Lord, so that's kind of a bummer. So that Warhammer Plus model, it's just a painting project at this point in time. But what I'm going to be doing with it is that model is going to go into my normal Chaos Space Marines, and I'll probably paint it up Khorne-ish, probably one of the various different Khorne war bands. Maybe not the original full color. I don't have any World Eaters. So with my Chaos Space Marines, each model in the Chaos Space Marines warband is going to be painted a different scheme. So the idea is that Cypher has been going around collecting people to join up with Abaddon to fight against the Imperium or against whatever. And so that like each member is it's from a different regiment, whether it be a loyalist who turned Chaos, a renegade who turned Chaos, a renegade who's just kind of out for himself, or one of the myriad of Chaos Space Marine war bands. So Cypher is just like, he's hunting for like the best warriors in each sort of skill, and he's just going around and he's just collecting whatever he can find. And it's kind of like a Death Watch, where every model in the Chaos Space Marines army is different paint color. So that's where we'll be putting that Terminator Lord. Now the Lord right next to him, this is a Chaos Space Marine Lord that I was using in the World Eaters army. Now since they don't take Terminator Lords anymore, I will be using this one. I'm not going to be repainting it. This is the one model that I'm going to be using in the Chaos Space Marines army. Probably not very often, but I really like the paint scheme, so I'm going to leave them as is. Really good paint job. I don't want to go back through and do any of the blending or anything like that again. So bam, that guy's going just in the normal Chaos Space Marine collection. He's got a Combi Bolter and a Power Sword. I think he'll do all right. The unit right behind him, which is a 10-man occultist unit, and they're Victoria Miniatures models, but they look pretty good. They have a flamer. The little sergeant guy's got a close combat weapon and an auto pistol, and then they have the rest are just like auto guns. These were in the World Eaters, but since the only cultists they can take now are the new Jackals, these are just going to go into the Chaos Space Marines. I don't have to repaint them. They're just a cultist unit, so they don't really fit the whole thing where like Cypher's looking for them, so they're all going to be different colors. So yeah, not the big deal. So they're just going to go in. I also have some 3D printed models that are the same, that look different, but those are also going to be cultists that go in with the Chaos Space Marine Warband, but I haven't painted those yet. And then right here we got a squad of Raptors. This squad's kind of sad that they don't take Raptors anymore, but we have 2 melta guns and then 2 guys with close combat or chain swords and bolt pistols, and the sergeant has a power sword. He had a combi melta up until recently because they can't take combi meltas anymore after the new Chaos Space Marines rulebook. So we got ourselves kind of plasma pistol right here. The hand, it's obviously meant for a left hand, but we can just chop that off and glue that right there. It'll work just fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that. So what we have to do first though is, because what I mentioned before is that the color scheme for each model in the army has to be different. This 5-man painted squad of Raptors, they're all the same color scheme. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to submerge them in simple green with the Terminators, and and then we're gonna paint strip them. So got myself a little Buckarooski red over here. Bam. Let's do this in real time. So we got ourselves a bucket, a little like Ziploc container, whatever. I don't know. Is it? I don't know where this one. Could be a myriad of manufacturers. Plastic bucket. We got ourselves some concentrated simple green. There's a lot of different paint strippers out there. There's like actual ones that are like from hobby companies. This stuff works just fine. I'll also use this from an airbrush. I ordered a new case of it coming tomorrow, so I'm going to use up this bit. So we're going to fill it up right about right there. And this is perfectly fine. It just smells. It'll smell up a room. I'm going to put a lid on here. So we're going to take all of these bad boys, these Raptors, and then we're going to toss them into the sludge. And the same thing with these Terminators. They're going in as is. Kind of get them all souped in there. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to let them sit for probably 24 hours, or maybe 12 to 14 hours, 20 hours, whatever we're going to do. Let them sit overnight in here, and then we're going to go at them with a brush, a toothbrush. We're going to aggressively clean them. Sometimes, like just being in the simple green, the glue bonds will break, and everything will start to fall apart, which will be fine. I prefer to do sub-assemblies when I paint, but we'll work with what we got. And now for the pistols, the weapons, I can just glue those on and paint those without having to strip the models, because that is the color scheme of my World is Warband. So we're going to leave those Corn Berserkers as is. But yeah, this is one of the things, like, I didn't want to have to do this, but and like somebody would be like, well, you didn't really have to do this. Well, for the Terminators, since they're going to go on the Blood Ravens, yeah, I kind of had to repaint them. The Raptors, just for kind of, keeping them in a unique kind of color scheme situation, I do want to strip them. So we got them all sitting here nice and good. And I'm going to go throw a lid on here, and that'll be it. But that has been the studio update. Don't know what I'm going to be painting next. I'll probably prime these. That might be the next thing you see, showing you the plasma pistols and everything painted on there. But yeah, I recently just found a new video game today called Vampire Survivor or Survivors, and it's like really fun. So I'm gonna clean up this, and I'm gonna go play a little bit of that. So aside from that, I hope you guys have a great one, and I will see you around. Goodbye.